Hello friends, good evening. I am Dr. Kaustubh and I welcome you to UPSC Guides Prelims PYQ discussion series. In this series, I'll be discussing the PYQs of geography to identify the key concepts, the patterns, and whatever the concepts are, along with the takeaways for solving prelims PYQs. This will help you refine your strategy and improve your accuracy in this most important qualifying examination. Friends, let us start discussion on the topic of geomorphology, right? We have seen that this is a topic which is important for geography, not only geography proper, but Indian geography also. So geomorphology is the core of understanding of geography. Let us take the first question here. Consider the following: electromagnetic radiation, geothermal energy, gravitational force, plate movements, rotation of earth, revolution of the earth. They have given you 6 different terms. And what is the question? Which of the above are responsible for bringing dynamic changes on the surface of the earth? So which of these 6 cause dynamic changes on the surface? So which of these 6 play a role in shaping of landforms on the surface of the earth, right? So here answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them. Why? If you look at the list, electromagnetic radiation, geothermal energy, gravitational force, plate movements, that's plate tectonics, we have studied, rotation of the earth and revolution of the earth. Let us see the description. Dynamic changes on the earth's surface occur due to various natural forces, right? So whatever the dynamic changes on the surface of the earth, especially on landforms, they occur because of different natural sources. Let us look at electromagnetic radiation. Does electromagnetic radiation shape the surface of the earth or landforms? Sun's electromagnetic radiation plays a significant role in weathering, climate change and atmospheric circulation. See, this electromagnetic radiation from the sun, right? Electromagnetic radiation from the sun. So what does it mean? Insolation, basically the sunlight that is coming. This sunlight or the waves coming from the sun to the earth, solar waves, these waves is electromagnetic radiation. Now these result into temperature, pressure, winds, all these different changes. So this electromagnetic radiation plays significant role in weathering. Weathering का मतलब क्या है? Weathering is physical decomposition and physical disintegration, chemical decomposition which is in situ. मतलब कोई भी अगर एक रॉक है तो उसका जो फिजिकल डिसइंटीग्रेशन होता है और केमिकल डिकम्पोजिशन होता है, और ये होके जो भी मटेरियल बनेगा उसको रेगोलिथ कहते हैं या फिर विदर्ड मटेरियल. ऑल दिस इज इन सिटू, इट इज नॉट कैरिड फ्रॉम प्लेस ए टू प्लेस बी. दिस इज कॉल्ड द प्रोसेस ऑफ विदरिंग, जो हमारे एनसीईआरटी में जिसलिए में दिया है. फिजिकल विदरिंग, जिसको मैकेनिकल विदरिंग भी कहते हैं, केमिकल विदरिंग एंड देन बायोलॉजिकल विदरिंग, राइट, बायोटिक फैक्टर्स. सो दिस सन रेज, right, solar waves, the electromagnetic radiation from the sun does impact the rate of withering. So it does play a role, significant role in shaping of landforms or dynamic changes on the surface of the earth. So sun's electromagnetic radiation plays an important role in withering, climate change, atmospheric circulation, right? So it drives, this solar energy drives water cycle, then a hydrological cycle, the winds through pressure changes, weather patterns which shape the earth's surface over time. That is why this electromagnetic radiation is an important factor bringing about dynamic changes in landforms over the surface of the earth. Second is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is generally associated with more heat, right? Tectonic changes, more heat or existence of magma below the surface of the earth. There is a lot of heat and this heat is released. Now this heat may be released in the form of, there are hot springs, right? Fumaroles, geysers, right? Volcanoes. So heat from the earth's interior causes volcanic eruption, earthquakes, mountain formation. So this energy, right? The thermal energy inside the earth, the geothermal energy does lead to changes in landforms or the surface of the earth through these various processes. Clear? So it plays a key role in tectonic activities and plate movements. Next is gravity. Now apply your common sense. The gravitational force, forget about other planets, but the gravitational force of moon moon causes tides, and these tides do cause changes in the sea coast. The gravitational force of earth is pulling materials down, right? ये जो withering होता है, gradation कहते हैं, this withering or this erosion, what is happening? The upstanding landforms like Himalayas or mountains, they are being broken down or degraded, eroded, and the material is being carried by all the rivers or even by wind or glaciers and is brought down to fill the oceans which are the depression. So in a sense, you would see that these external exogenic agents are trying to wither down or erode the upstanding portions like mountains, and they're going to fill the low-lying areas like oceans or lakes, right? Correct? So gravitational force, it influences erosion, sedimentation, landslide, ocean tides, and so on. It controls the movement of water, glacier, atmospheric circulation, and in that sense, it does impact the landforms and bring about dynamic changes on the surface of the earth. Next factor, plate movements. Now, I don't have to explain this much. When you talk about plate movements, the plate tectonics, this is responsible for volcanoes. This is responsible for plateaus like Tibet. It is responsible for fold mountains like Himalayas, Rockies, Andes, Alps, and so on, right? So tectonic plate movements causes earthquake, volcanic eruption, mountain building, continental drift, and so on. Rotation of the earth. Now, rotation of earth, how is it bringing about dynamic changes on the surface of earth? You know, rotation of the earth is associated very closely with Coriolis force. What is Coriolis? Coriolis, the Farrell's law, it states that if you stand with your back, right, if you stand in northern hemisphere, right, if you stand with your back facing the direction from where the wind is coming, the wind tends to deflect towards your right. So there is deflection of wind in the northern hemisphere towards the right and in the southern hemisphere towards the left. So this deflection and Coriolis also have an impact on wind patterns, ocean currents, and climate zones. This influences erosion and deposition of landforms, right? In the shaping of landforms. Now, revolution of the earth, again, this leads to seasonal changes, weathering, erosion, biological cycles, revolution, right? So when we talk about revolution of the earth around the sun, it causes seasons. We know that. Now, if there are different seasons, there is difference in the duration of day and night. There is difference in the amount of insolation, that is incoming solar radiation, received at a particular place. That brings about variations in temperature, which may result into variation in pressure. That may result into variation in wind, right? And that ultimately results into variation in the rate of withering or erosion. So biological cycles, seasonal changes, withering, erosion, and so on. That is why option D is correct option. All 6 factors contribute to changes on earth surface. अभी हमने ये बहुत अच्छे से डिटेल में डिस्कस किया है. Electromagnetic radiation, geothermal energy, gravity, tectonic movements, they drive geological and atmospheric processes. Rotation and revolution impact climate, erosion, biological systems. The final answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. ठीक है? Next. Which of the following phenomena might have influenced the evolution of organisms? Right? Darwin's theory. If we talk about the evolution of organisms, we are talking about the theory which was given by Darwin through his very famous book, Origin of Species. So, this evolution of organisms, right, it was majorly influenced by what? Continental drift, glacial cycles. Both of them are correct, right? Select the correct answer using the codes given, only 1, only 2, both and neither. Now, both 1 and 2. See, when we talk about continental drift, right, the reason was plate tectonics. But when you talk about continental drift, when geographically the land masses separated from each other and moved away, the same species which may have been present at that particular time on both the landforms evolved differently. Because of what? Because of the available resources, because of the climate, because of the physical conditions there, and so on. So both the species may have evolved separately just because they were geographically isolated. So this isolation was majorly caused by continental drift. Second is glacial cycles. There have been four major glacial cycles, right? And a little glacial cycle also, a smaller one, and glacial era. This glacial cycles resulted into reduction in the level of sea. When the glaciers were present and they were spreading across the lands, the sea level went down, right? And this glaciers, they blocked many channels or blocked many lands and forced the organisms to shift more into the tropical area. This shifting may have resulted into the species moving across different landscapes. For example, say South Asia and Southeast Asia. So organisms from South Asia and Southeast Asia during the glacial period may have moved towards Indonesia and even Australia through the shallow seas, or even when sea level went down, many areas would have come to the surface, the low-lying areas, and they would have simply boated, went through water or land, overland bridges to continents of Australia or landmass of Indonesia. Now this, again, once the glacial melts, the levels will rise. Species are separated, geographically isolated, and they evolve differently, right? So, or which of the following phenomena might have influenced the evolution of organisms? It is continental drift and the glacial cycles. इसका अगर आप पढ़ोगे in the Darwin's books, or even there are a lot of books like Sapiens written by Yuval Harari, or the book Guns, Germs and Steel written by Jed Diamond, they give this explanation that because of glacial cycles, the species were forced to move, new routes were opened, some earlier routes were closed, and this geographical isolation then resulted into different speciation, right? So answer is C, both 1 and 2. Right? Movement of continents due to plate tectonics, evolution of organisms, separated land masses, geographical isolations. That is the term that Darwin used. Geographical isolation, species to evolve separately. That is called allopatric speciation. Example is marsupials in Australia evolved separately due to its early separation from other continents. Right? Marsupials. That is a very particular species. Like we know kangaroos, right? They are present only in Australia. You don't find kangaroos anywhere else, right? Glacial cycles, again, climatic shifts, mass extinction, habitat changes, adaptation, ice ages, migrate, adapt, go extinct, right? This has resulted into formation of new species. That is why option C is correct. Both continental drift and glacial cycles have influenced evolution of organisms by altering their habitats, their migration patterns, their adaptation strategies, right? So I hope you have understood this. Let us go to the next point. Before I move ahead, again, I would like to remind you about this new batch which is being launched by UPSC Guide. It is called PARIKSHA. This is specifically targeted for Prelims 2025, UPSC Prelims 2025. Here, there are a lot of test series, discussions. Your preparation strategy would be more refined, become more accurate, and it gives you a decent chance to get into the qualify the most grueling competitive UPSC Prelims examination, right? The next question, consider the following statements. The Earth's magnetic field has reversed every few 100,000 years. Now, calculate this 100,000, it's a large number. And if you have studied your basic geography, especially the sea floor spreading, plate tectonics wala part, you will agree that, that particular diagram you have in NCERT also, that the North Pole and South Pole, they shift, right? If you study the magnetic alignment of the Earth over a geological time scale, it is proven that these poles change their position, right? Every 100,000 years, after a long period of time, right? So first statement is correct. Second, when the Earth was created more than 400 million years ago, there was 54% oxygen and no carbon dioxide. Don't worry about this number, 400 million years ago, right? Earth, the age of the Earth is nearly 4 billion years, right? Focus on this 54%. It is saying that when the Earth was originally created, there was 54% oxygen and no carbon dioxide. We know that when the Earth was created, oxygen would not have been there. Oxygen came very late. Initially, carbon dioxide or other gases were present. But then with evolution of life in underwater, especially the cyanobacteria and all, slowly and steadily oxygen was released into the atmosphere, which made the atmosphere more conducive for life like us, right? So second point is absolutely wrong. Oxygen nahi tha pehle. Oxygen came later when life evolved. Then when living organisms originated, they modified the early atmosphere of the earth. Absolutely. Absolutely. When the living organisms originated, because of their respiration, they changed or brought about a change in the atmosphere, the original atmosphere of the earth. So 1 and 3 is right. Second statement seems to be incorrect. Let us see. The options which are given to you, 1 only, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So it seems that answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Second point is wrong. As I said earlier, there was no oxygen. Oxygen came later with the evolution of species, right? Or evolution of life, right? When life came into existence. Earth's magnetic field has reversed every few 100,000 years, correct? So magnetic field, that is called geomagnetic reversal. That is the term that is used in geography. Geomagnetic reversals every 2 lakh to 3 lakh years on average. North and south magnetic poles switch their places. So evidences come from magnetic stripes on the ocean floor. That is what I mentioned, that you study your NCERT, the seafloor spreading, there is this diagram given where north and south alignment is changing, right? Second, when the earth was created, oxygen. Now, early Earth's atmosphere had almost no oxygen. It was rich in carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, right? Water vapor and so on. Oxygen appeared much later because of photosynthesis, cyanobacteria, right? This cyanobacteria, during great oxygenation event, nearly 2.4 billion years ago, right? When living organisms originated, they modified, that is true. This is photosynthesis, great oxygenation, right? These plants, CO2 absorption and giving out carbon, they absorb CO2 carbon dioxide and give out oxygen, the plants, and through the process of photosynthesis. So there was modification in the initial atmosphere because of the way life evolved. So statement 1 and 3 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Early Earth had no oxygen but only very high carbon dioxide. With reference to the water on the planet Earth, consider the following statements. The amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater, right? So for this, you need to have an understanding about the proportion of fresh water, right? That is present. The whole distribution of water on the earth. So say around 97% is present, 70% is present in oceans. Nearly 97% of fresh water, a large amount of it is locked in glaciers. Then less amount is present in rivers and so on, lakes and rivers, and then groundwater is one component. So here they are trying to ask you questions based on this categorization or classification of water that is available on earth, right? So the amount of water in rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. That is the first statement. Second, the amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers is more than the amount of groundwater. Again, they are comparing the water, fresh water that is available in rivers and lakes to groundwater, and the glacial fresh water, the water that is locked up as glaciers, the amount of that water is also being compared with the groundwater available, right? So answer, there are options, 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. Now here you have to understand that the answer is B, 2 only. Amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers is more. I told you that most of the fresh water is locked up in glaciers, a huge quantity of it. Very less amount is present in rivers, lakes and groundwater. So amount of water in polar ice caps and glaciers is more than that of groundwater, that is true. But it is not the other way around. Groundwater is more than the amount of water that you have in rivers and lakes, right? So the first statement is wrong. The amount of water in rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater? No. That is why there is a table that is available on internet also. You can find in the notes, you can find that table. Even if I'm not wrong, NCERT gives you that table where the distribution of water on the earth is mentioned. And then 70% of the water is present in oceans, that's not potable, or more than 90%, 97% is present in glaciers, which is locked completely the fresh water, and then very less amount is present in groundwater, and then lakes, rivers and so on. So go through that table Here, groundwater makes up 30% of the world's freshwater supply. Rivers and lakes contain only 0.3. Groundwater is far more abundant than water in lakes, right? And here, polar ice caps and glaciers, 70% of Earth's freshwater nearly, very high amount, right? More than groundwater, which is 30% only, right? So, option B is correct, right? Option B is correct. Only 2, right? 2 only. Next, consider the following statements. In seismograph, P waves are recorded earlier than S waves. Now, if you have studied basic seismograph, you will know that P stands for primary and S stands for secondary. So, primary waves appear before secondary waves. So, the first statement is correct. P waves, the individual particles vibrate to and fro in the direction of wave propagation. Whereas in S, the particles vibrate up and down at right angle. Now, this is simple. I'll give you a simple understanding about P and S waves. P waves are primary, which appear first on the seismograph. They are recorded first on the seismograph. S waves are secondary. They appear on seismograph after the appearance of P waves. Right? Both P and S are body waves. They are not surface waves. Seismic waves ही है, लेकिन body waves है. Now, P waves are like sound wave. I hope you know how a sound wave looks, right? Compression and rarefaction. So sound waves are like this. Compression and rarefaction. This is P wave, right? So here the particle, this is the direction of propagation of the wave. So the particle here would move in this direction, right? To and fro. Particle moves to and fro like this in the direction or a direction which is parallel to the direction of propagation of wave. So this first statement is correct, and second statement, first part is right. Second, in S wave. Now S wave is like this. S wave is like this. This is also known as a transverse wave. In this, the particle is moving like this. The particle of the medium is moving perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. So direction of propagation of wave is like this, but the particle is moving like this, to and fro, up and down. So which is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. And this is the reason that, the second statement is also right. So both, answer is C, both 1 and 2 are correct. Clear? So look at the explanation. In a seismograph, P waves are recorded first. Yes, P waves are primary waves. S waves are secondary waves. They move slowly. P waves are faster, right? Second statement, P waves are longitudinal, that is particles move parallel. S waves are transverse, it is particles move perpendicular. So both statements are scientifically accurate, they are true. That is why we get answer as C, which is 1 and 2. Next, about 3/4 of world's cobalt. Now you must be hearing a lot about cobalt now, because the EVs and semiconductors, these chips, a metal required for the manufacture of batteries for electric motor vehicles, is produced by Argentina, Botswana, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Kazakh. The answer is C, Democratic Republic of Congo, right? So most of this cobalt is locked up there, right? So the answer is C. Explanation is given. Democratic Republic of Congo is the world's largest producer of cobalt, 70 to 75% of global cobalt production, which is very important statistics. It is a crucial metal used in manufacture of lithium-ion batteries. All the EVs that you see today, they use this lithium-ion batteries. This requires, the manufacture of these batteries requires cobalt, right? Which powers the EVs, smartphones, laptops, the semiconductors, and so on. Right? Majority of this world's cobalt reserves are found in Katanga region of DRC. Katanga Plateau. There's a plateau in South Central Africa, which is called the Katanga Plateau. This Katanga Plateau, apart from cobalt, has copper also. Huge reserves of copper, silver, lead, so on. So this Katanga Plateau is important. Why? Other options, Argentina, no. Argentina produces lithium, is not a major cobalt production. Botswana is rich in diamonds and nickel, again, not cobalt. Kazakh is uranium, not cobalt, right? So you should know this Kazakhstan is important for uranium. Final answer is Democratic Republic of Congo. Again, let us look at the next question. Consider the following: pyroclastic debris, ash and dust, nitrogen compounds, sulfur compounds. How many of the above are produced or products of volcanic eruption? Only 1, only 2, only 3, only 4. Right? Ideally, if you look at volcanic eruption, you get this, ideally this volcanic eruption, you get this pyroclastic debris. Pyroclastic is the rocks which are shaped by fire. So there is pyroclastic debris, there is ash and dust, yes. Nitrogen compounds, yes, right? And then sulfur compounds. So sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, all these gases are also released. So all of them, all four, all are the products of volcanic eruption, right? Pyroclastic debris is volcanic rocks, lava fragments, ash, right? High speeds, ash and dust, nitrogen compounds are there, sulfur compounds are there, right? They contribute, this majorly contributes to acid rain, right? Answer is D, all four. Correct? So friends, this is all about today's discussion. We'll see you again, meet you in the next session every evening, 6 p.m. Thank you.